My son's 5th birthday party. The whole family had gathered, and the room was filled with smiles. But an hour later, my son was lying on the floor. Foam was coming from his mouth, and his body was convulsing. The doctor said this wasn't food poisoning. Someone had done this intentionally. And when I returned home with the police, one person began to tremble. It was the person I had trusted most. That morning, I woke my son Ethan. Today he was turning 5. When Ethan opened his eyes, he immediately broke into a smile. I kissed his forehead and whispered, "Happy birthday." Ethan jumped up and asked if Aunt Jennifer was coming. "Of course, she wouldn't miss your birthday," I answered. Ethan adored my sister-in-law Jennifer. Jennifer was always kind and brought lots of presents. Sometimes she bought him more expensive things than my husband and I did. At 2 p.m., the family started gathering. My husband David, his sister Jennifer, David's parents, my parents, and 10 of Ethan's friends. The living room was bright with balloons and decorations. Jennifer arrived around 2:30. She stood at the front door holding a large gift box. Ethan shrieked and ran to her. Jennifer hugged Ethan and said, "I've prepared something special for you." Ethan's eyes sparkled. Jennifer was smiling. But I noticed something. That smile was a little different from usual. Her eyes weren't smiling. At 3 o'clock, Jennifer said, "I'll go pick up the cake." "You're busy with the guests, Rachel." I nodded gratefully. Jennifer took her car keys and left. From the window, I watched her head towards Sweet Dreams Bakery. At 3:30, Jennifer returned with the cake. It was a large chocolate cake with Ethan's name beautifully written on it. We all sang, "Happy Birthday." Ethan was happily clapping his hands. After blowing out the candles, Ethan looked up at me. "Can I eat the cake, Mama?" "Of course, you're the birthday boy," I answered. Jennifer cut the cake. She handed Ethan the biggest piece. "Eat plenty, Ethan," Jennifer said. Ethan took a big bite of cake. 3 minutes later, Ethan's face turned red. At first I didn't notice. But when Ethan put his hand to his throat, my heart stopped. "Ethan, are you okay?" I rushed over. Ethan began clawing at his throat. "I can't breathe," he said in a hoarse voice. "Allergic reaction." I understood immediately. "David, the EpiPen!" I shouted. My husband frantically pulled the EpiPen from Ethan's backpack. He injected it into Ethan's thigh. But nothing happened. "Why isn't it working?" I screamed. Ethan collapsed on the floor. Foam was coming from his mouth, and his body was convulsing. "Call an ambulance, right now." I screamed. Jennifer took out her cell phone. But her hands were shaking. It was taking her a long time to dial the number. Why was she so slow? I couldn't understand. David snatched the phone from Jennifer and called 911 himself. For the 7 minutes until the paramedics arrived, I held Ethan. My son's body kept convulsing. "Please, Ethan. Stay with Mama. Please." I repeated it over and over. Jennifer was standing against the wall. Her expression was strange. Not panic, but some other emotion. I didn't know what it was at the time. In the ambulance, I stared at my son. The paramedic administered adrenaline. Ethan's breathing returned a little. But he wasn't conscious. I gripped my son's hand. It was cold. The hospital emergency room was cold and too bright. While the doctors treated Ethan, I waited in the hallway. I sat leaning my back against the wall, hugging my knees. Every time the clock hand moved, my heart ached. David arrived 15 minutes later. He was out of breath. "How's Ethan?" he asked. "I don't know yet. He's being treated," I answered. David sat next to me and held his head. Jennifer arrived too. She was crying. "Rachel, I'm so sorry. I never thought this would happen," she said. I looked at Jennifer. "Why didn't the EpiPen work?" I asked. Jennifer lowered her eyes. "I don't know. Maybe it was expired," she said. "No. I just replaced it with a new one last month." I remembered clearly. I check the EpiPen every month. It's a matter of Ethan's life. Something about Jennifer's answer bothered me. But at that moment, I didn't know what it was. An hour later, the emergency room door opened. Dr. Sarah Kim came out. Dr. Kim looked at my face and softened her expression. "Mrs. Martinez, your son is stable. But we need to talk," she said. I stood up. "What happened? Was it peanuts?" I asked. Dr. Kim nodded. "Yes. But this isn't a simple allergic reaction," she said. Dr. Kim showed me the test report. I'm a former nurse, so I understand medical terminology. Looking at the report, I gasped. An abnormally high concentration of peanut oil was detected. Not a trace amount. An intentional amount. This isn't food poisoning. It's not an accident, Dr. Kim said. I stared at the doctor. "What are you saying?" I asked. Dr. Kim took a deep breath. "Someone intentionally put peanut oil in what your son ate. And there's one more thing," she continued. Dr. Kim showed me another report. "We tested the EpiPen you used. The contents aren't epinephrine. It's saline solution," she said. "What?" I raised my voice. "Someone switched the contents. Mrs. Martinez, your son's EpiPen was tampered with. Which means," the doctor paused. "Someone tried to kill your son," she said. The world stopped. I couldn't hear the sounds around me. I could see David saying something, but the words didn't reach my ears. Someone tried to kill my son. Those words repeated in my head. I put my hand on the wall. I couldn't breathe. Dr. Kim supported my shoulder. "Are you okay, Mrs. Martinez?" she asked. I shook my head. Of course I wasn't okay. "Who? Why?" "My son," I said in a trembling voice. 30 minutes later, Detective Marcus Chen arrived. Detective Chen introduced himself as a specialist in attempted murder cases. Dr. Kim contacted me. "This is a criminal case," he said. I explained the situation to the detective. Ethan's birthday party. About 20 guests. He collapsed right after eating the cake. The detective listened while taking notes. "Who brought the cake?" he asked. "My sister-in-law Jennifer. She picked it up at the bakery," I answered. The detective nodded. "Who had access to the EpiPen?" he continued. I thought about it. The EpiPen is in Ethan's backpack. It's kept in the bedroom at home. Anyone in the family could access it. Who had visited the house last week? My parents. My in-laws. And Jennifer. Yesterday, Jennifer came. She said she wanted to give Ethan a present. I was cooking in the kitchen. Jennifer went upstairs alone. For about 30 minutes. Wait. What was she doing for 30 minutes? I didn't ask Jennifer. At the time I didn't suspect anything. But thinking about it now, it's strange. 5 minutes would be enough just to leave a present. 30 minutes is too long. I looked at the detective. Jennifer came yesterday. She was upstairs alone for about 30 minutes, I said. Detective Chen narrowed his eyes. Let's go back to the house. We need to question everyone. And we'll seize the cake as evidence, he said. When I returned to the waiting room, David and Jennifer were there. David was pale. The police are coming? He asked. Yes. Because this is attempted murder, I answered. Jennifer stood up. Attempted murder. Who? Why? She said. I stared at Jennifer. I looked into her eyes. Something was off. Her surprise seemed genuine. But something was different. I couldn't tell what. I wanted to be alone. I said I was going to the restroom and left the waiting room. As I walked down the hallway, I organized the information in my head. I'm a former nurse. I worked in the emergency ward for 10 years. I've seen peanut allergy symptoms many times. Normally, it takes 5 to 10 minutes for symptoms to appear. But Ethan collapsed in 3 minutes. Abnormally fast. That happens when a large amount of allergen is ingested. It matches Dr. Kim's report. And the EpiPen failure. The EpiPen was replaced with a new one last month. The expiration date wasn't until next year. Why didn't it work? Could the contents really have been switched? But who? Why? Who would want to kill Ethan? I stopped. I looked out the window. Cars were lined up in the parking lot. Among them, I could see Jennifer's car. A white sedan. I tried to remember something. Yesterday, when Jennifer came, something was off about her. She smiled less than usual. Her eyes looked tired. When I talked about my second pregnancy, Jennifer's face clouded a little. But she quickly returned to smiling. Congratulations, Rachel, she said. But that smile was fake. And 3 months ago, when I announced my pregnancy to the family, everyone congratulated me. Jennifer was smiling too. But her eyes weren't smiling. After the party, I saw Jennifer outside alone. She looked like she was crying. But when I tried to call out to her, she got in her car and drove away. 2 months ago. A family dinner. Jennifer said to me, Rachel, you're really happy, aren't you? A wonderful husband, a cute son, and now a second child. I just answered with a smile. Thank you, Jennifer. But at that moment, there was something sharp in her voice. Envy. No, something more than that. Jealousy. 1 month ago. Jennifer asked me, teach me how to use the EpiPen. I want to know in case of emergency, she said. I was happy to teach her. The structure of the EpiPen, how to use it, how to store it. Jennifer took notes eagerly. At the time I didn't suspect anything. But thinking about it now, why so suddenly? I took out my cell phone. I needed to investigate Jennifer. I started searching the internet. Jennifer Thompson. Infertility treatment. The first hit was a website for an infertility support organization. An article from 5 years ago. It contained Jennifer's testimony. I read the article. 10 years of infertility treatment. 5 in vitro fertilizations, all failures. My husband blamed me. It's your fault, he said. We got divorced. I gave up my dream of having children. The article ended there. I gripped my cell phone. Jennifer. Were you suffering that much? But that's no reason. No matter how much you suffer, it's no reason to kill a 5-year-old child. I took a deep breath. I need evidence. Solid evidence. Not emotion, but facts. I'm a former nurse. I can think logically. Find evidence that Jennifer is the culprit. And turn it over to the police. I returned to the waiting room. David stood up. Rachel, are you okay? He asked. Yes. I was just thinking about something, I answered. Jennifer was standing by the window. Her back was turned. Her shoulders were trembling slightly. I couldn't tell if she was crying. The next day, Ethan was stable in the hospital. He regained consciousness and showed me a weak smile. But I couldn't relax. Someone tried to kill my son. That someone still hasn't been caught. The police are conducting an investigation, but I couldn't wait. I'll find the evidence myself. I decided. At 10 a.m., I returned home. David remained at the hospital, staying by Ethan's side. I was alone. When I opened the front door, yesterday's party debris was still there. Balloons, decorations, and the half-remaining cake. The police had seized the cake as evidence, but the plates and paper cups were still on the table. I tried not to look at them and went upstairs. I entered Ethan's room. The backpack was on the floor. The police must have already examined it, but I wanted to check with my own eyes. I opened the backpack. I looked at where the EpiPen was kept. The zippered pocket. I always put it here. But something's different. The position of the zipper is slightly off. I'm a meticulous person. I always close the zipper in the same position. But this is different. Someone opened it and closed it again. I looked around the room. Was anything dropped on the floor? Any sign that drawers were opened? And I found it. Under the bed, a small transparent plastic cap. I picked it up. A syringe cap. Medical grade. Why is a syringe cap in Ethan's room? Ethan doesn't use injections. Neither do I. Then who? Yesterday, Jennifer was in this room. For 30 minutes, alone. I was in the kitchen. What was Jennifer doing upstairs? She said she was putting the present on the bed. But it shouldn't take 30 minutes. I put the syringe cap in a plastic bag. Evidence. I headed to the study. David's study. My father-in-law's will is stored here. David had been troubled about the will before. He said his father discriminated against his sister Jennifer. At the time, I didn't ask in detail. But now I need to know. To understand Jennifer's motive. I opened the file cabinet. I found the will immediately. It's in a brown envelope. I opened the seal and read the will. To my son David, $5 million. The reason is that he has a son, Ethan. He has someone to carry on the family bloodline. To my daughter Jennifer, $500,000. The reason is that she has no children. I'm sorry, but she has no one to carry on the family. I gripped the will. This is terrible. Jennifer only inherits 1/10 because she has no children. My father-in-law discriminated against his daughter. And Jennifer was suffering from infertility. 10 years of treatment. 5 failures. Divorce. She lost everything. And I got pregnant with my second child. What did that mean to Jennifer? I took out my cell phone. I called Sweet Dreams Bakery. The manager answered. This is Mrs. Martinez. I ordered a cake yesterday, and I was wondering if I could see the security camera footage. I asked. The manager said the police had already contacted them. But as a mother, I want to see it with my own eyes, I pleaded. The manager thought for a moment and then said, please come. 30 minutes later, I was at the bakery. The manager led me to the back room. I sat in front of the monitor and played yesterday's footage. At 2:35 p.m., Jennifer picks up the cake. She's smiling and talking with the clerk. At 2:37, she heads to the parking lot. So far, it's normal. At 2:38, Jennifer gets in the car. But she doesn't start it. She's doing something in the car. The cake box is on her lap. At 2:40, Jennifer takes something out of her bag. A small bottle and a syringe. I gasped. Jennifer is drawing liquid from the bottle with the syringe. Then she opens the cake box. At 2:43, Jennifer is inserting the syringe into the cake. She slowly injects the liquid and then closes the box. She puts the syringe and bottle back in her bag. At 2:50, she starts the car. I stopped the footage. My hands were shaking. Jennifer. You really did it. Perfect evidence. The footage shows everything. Injecting poison into the cake. Please give me this footage, I asked the manager. The manager copied the footage onto a USB drive. I'll submit this to the police, the manager said. Yes. And I'll keep a copy too, I answered. I left the bakery and got in my car. But I sat there without starting the engine. I need to search Jennifer's car. The syringe and bottle might still be in the car. Did Jennifer destroy the evidence? Or is she careless? It's worth trying. I headed to Jennifer's apartment. She should be at the hospital now. She said she was coming to visit Ethan. Which means her car is in the apartment parking lot. I arrived at the apartment. I found Jennifer's white sedan. It's parked in the corner of the parking lot. I looked around. No one. I approached the car. I tried the door. It's not locked. Did Jennifer forget to lock it? Or does she think she has nothing to hide? I opened the door. I searched the car interior. The passenger seat. Nothing. The back seat. Nothing. I opened the glove box. There it was. An empty syringe. A small glass bottle. The label says peanut oil. And disposable gloves. I took pictures. Evidence. Definitive evidence. I picked up the syringe. In the transparent tube, a small amount of liquid still remains. Amber-colored. Peanut oil. I know because I'm a former nurse. This is the tool to kill Ethan. Jennifer prepared it. Deliberately. I got out of the car and called Detective Chen. I found evidence. The bakery security camera footage and a syringe in Jennifer's car, I said. Detective Chen sounded surprised. Mrs. Martinez, did you investigate on your own? He asked. Yes. For my son. Jennifer is the culprit. I have evidence, I answered. Detective Chen said he understood. I'm coming now. Secure the evidence, he said. An hour later, Detective Chen and 2 police officers arrived. I handed over the USB drive with the security camera footage. Then I showed them Jennifer's car. The detective examined the car interior and put the syringe and bottle in evidence bags. This is enough. We'll arrest Jennifer Thompson, the detective said. At 6 p.m., I returned home with the police. Detective Chen and 2 officers accompanied me. The whole family was in the living room. Jennifer, my husband David, David's parents, my parents. Everyone looked worried. When I entered, everyone turned around. David stood up. Rachel, is Ethan okay? He asked. He's stable. But we need to talk, I answered. I stared at Jennifer. Jennifer had an anxious expression. But she was still acting. Jennifer, I want to ask you something, I said. What, Rachel? Jennifer answered. Her voice was trembling. Yesterday, when you came to my house, what were you doing upstairs? I asked. Jennifer's face changed color. Ethan's present. You know that, she said. What were you doing alone for 30 minutes? I continued. Jennifer stammered. Putting the present on the bed, she answered. I took out the syringe cap. Still in the plastic bag, I showed it to Jennifer. You dropped this in Ethan's room, didn't you? I said. Jennifer backed away. That's not mine, she said. But her body was shaking. Her whole body was trembling. I took out my smartphone. I saw the Sweet Dreams Bakery security camera footage. You in the car, injecting something into the cake, I said. I showed everyone the smartphone screen. The footage played. Jennifer inserting the syringe into the cake. Injecting the liquid. The room fell silent. David stood up. Jennifer, what is this? He asked. Jennifer shook her head. No, this isn't what it looks like, she said. And I found this in your car, I continued. I showed the photos on my smartphone. The empty syringe. The bottle of peanut oil. The disposable gloves. Jennifer fell to her knees. Her whole body was shaking violently. Tears were pouring out. Detective Chen stepped forward. Is this enough? I asked. It's enough, the detective answered. Jennifer Thompson, you're under arrest for attempted murder, the detective said. An officer approached Jennifer. Jennifer looked up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, she said, crying. David shouted. Why, Jennifer? Why Ethan? He's your nephew, he said. Jennifer answered with a tear-streaked face. Because I can't have children. Because you have everything and I have nothing. Because every time I see Ethan, I'm reminded of what I can never have, she said. The room froze. Jennifer continued. 15 years, David. For 15 years, I tried. 7 times. 7 failures. My husband left me. Father excluded me in his will. And then Rachel announced her second pregnancy. A second child. I can't even have one, she screamed. I stepped forward. With tears streaming down my face, I looked down at Jennifer. So you tried to kill my son. I can understand your pain, Jennifer. But that's no reason to kill a 5-year-old child, I said. Jennifer collapsed on the floor. I know. I know. I'm a monster, she cried. The officer handcuffed Jennifer. Jennifer didn't resist. She just kept crying. The next day, Detective Chen called me. We searched Jennifer's apartment. There's something I want to show you, he said. I headed to the police station. David said he'd come too, but I answered that I'd go alone. This is something I have to see through to the end. In the interrogation room at the police station, Detective Chen took out a diary. Jennifer's diary. It was on the bedside table in her apartment, he said. The diary had a black leather cover and looked well used. The detective opened a page. This is the entry from 3 months ago, the day you announced your pregnancy, he said. I read the diary. Today, Rachel announced her second pregnancy. Everyone was smiling and congratulating her. I also smiled and said congratulations. But inside I was screaming. Why only her? Why not me? Rachel's having a second child. I can't even have a first. God is unfair. I gasped. Jennifer had been feeling this way for 3 months. My happiness was hurting her. But I didn't notice. I didn't even try to notice. The detective opened another page. This is an entry from a month ago, he said. I've made a plan. At Ethan's birthday party, I'll use peanut oil. The allergic reaction will look like an accident. No one will suspect me. I'll also tamper with the EpiPen. Replace the contents with saline solution. A perfect plan. I want Rachel to taste my pain. The pain of losing a child. I gripped the diary. A month ago. Jennifer had been planning this for a month. She was waiting for Ethan's birthday. To kill my son. This isn't an impulsive crime. It's premeditated attempted murder. The detective nodded. Yes. This is clear intent to kill. She'll be convicted, he said. But the detective's expression was complicated. There's one more important discovery, he continued. He opened another file. Jennifer may have been involved in another incident 5 years ago, he said. I looked at the detective. What incident? I asked. Jennifer's ex-husband remarried 3 years ago. His new wife got pregnant 3 months after the remarriage. But a month later, she had a miscarriage. The cause was unknown, the detective explained. I froze. No way. The detective continued. We examined the medical records. There are unnatural aspects. It's rare for a healthy woman to miscarry without any warning signs. Do you have evidence? I asked. The detective shook his head. No. But the timing matches. At the time, Jennifer was living 3 blocks from her ex-husband's house. She was acquainted with the ex-husband's new wife. She could have had access, he said. I trembled. So Ethan might not be the first victim. I asked. It's possible. But without evidence, we can't prosecute, the detective answered. I looked at the diary. Doesn't she write anything else? About the ex-husband's new wife? I asked. The detective opened another page. This is an entry from 4 years ago, he said. I read it. David's new wife got pregnant. David is my ex-husband. He abandoned me. And he became happy with a new woman. I can't forgive that. I'll take from her what she took from me. I closed my eyes. Jennifer really did. She might have been involved in the ex-husband's wife's miscarriage. And now Ethan. Jennifer was controlled by pain. By jealousy and hatred. The detective said, Jennifer will undergo a psychological evaluation. We need to assess her mental state. I nodded. That afternoon, I requested to visit Jennifer. David opposed it. Why do you need to see her, he said. Because I want to know the truth. All of it, I answered. David gave up. Fine. But be careful, he said. The visiting room at the detention center was cold and sterile. Jennifer came in. She was thin. Her hair was messy, and she had bags under her eyes. We faced each other through glass. I picked up the phone. Jennifer picked up the phone too. Rachel, why did you come? Jennifer asked. Her voice was weak. Because I want to know the truth. Your ex-husband's new wife's miscarriage. Were you involved? I asked. Jennifer went silent. A long silence continued. Then she said, there's no evidence. That's not an answer. Tell me the truth, Jennifer, I said. Jennifer looked up. Her eyes were empty. I won't admit to anything. But if I had done it, she would have just understood my pain. She took my husband. And she got pregnant with the child I couldn't have. I couldn't forgive that, she said. I felt tears welling up. You're a monster, Jennifer. I can understand the pain. The suffering of infertility, the pain of divorce. But that's no reason to hurt others, I said. Jennifer laughed. A cold, self-mocking laugh. I know. But the pain destroyed me. Every day, I asked myself why only me. And hatred took control of me, she said. You had choices. You could have asked for help. You could have received counseling. But you chose hatred. And you hurt innocent people, I said. Jennifer cried. I know. I know everything. But it's too late. I can't go back, she said. I took a deep breath. I won't forgive you. But to ensure that people like you are never created again, I'll help people suffering from infertility. I'll show them a different path from the one you chose, I said. Jennifer stared at me. Thank you, Rachel. Walk the path I didn't choose, she said in a small voice. I stood up. Goodbye, Jennifer. We'll never meet again, I said. I hung up the phone. 3 months later, the verdict was handed down in court. David and I sat in the gallery. Jennifer was in the defendant's seat. She was emaciated. The judge read the verdict. Jennifer Thompson, you attempted to kill a 5-year-old child with deliberation. You planned for a month and tried to execute it perfectly. This is an extremely malicious crime. The verdict: guilty of attempted murder. 25 years in prison, no parole. Psychiatric treatment is mandatory. Permanent restraining order from the Martinez family. Jennifer nodded quietly. I deserve this, she said in a small voice. An officer handcuffed Jennifer. Jennifer was being led away. She looked back just once. Our eyes met. There were tears in her eyes. But I didn't look away. After leaving the courtroom, David held my hand. It's over, he said. Yes. But this is also a beginning, I answered. David tilted his head. A beginning of what? He asked. I smiled. The beginning of a new mission, I said. That night, I opened my laptop. I started researching infertility support organizations. What organizations exist? What kind of support is needed? I'm a former nurse. I have medical knowledge. And now I also understand Jennifer's pain. There must be something I can do. David came into the room. What are you doing? He asked. I'm thinking of starting an infertility support organization, I answered. David looked surprised. Even after what happened with Jennifer, he said. That's exactly why. To ensure that people like Jennifer are never created again. To show people in pain different choices, I answered. David put his hand on my shoulder. You're strong, Rachel, he said. I'm not strong. I'm just doing what I can as a mother, I answered. David smiled. I'll help, he said. Thank you, I answered. On the screen was a website for an infertility support organization. Many women's testimonies were posted. Pain, suffering, despair. But at the same time, hope. Voices asking for help. I want to respond to these voices. Jennifer chose hatred. But I want others to choose hope. I opened a new document. I thought about a name for the organization. Hope Beyond Pain. Hope Beyond Pain. That's good. I started typing. The purpose of establishment, objectives, activities. Words came one after another. Psychological support for people suffering from infertility. Providing counseling. Sharing medical information. And above all, telling them they're not alone. I looked at the clock, it was 2 a.m. But I wasn't sleepy. A sense of mission was driving me. Jennifer is in prison. For 25 years. Her life is over. But other people's lives continue. I want to save them. Not from pain. I want to show them how to live with pain. Not with hatred, but with hope. David said, It's late, Rachel. You need to rest. Just a little longer, I answered. This is also my redemption, I continued. Redemption? For what? David asked. I didn't notice Jennifer's pain. I knew she was suffering, but I did nothing. If I had reached out to her then, I answered. David shook his head. It's not your fault. It's the path Jennifer chose, he said. I know. But there was something I could have done. It's not too late now. For other people, I said. David hugged me. You really are strong, Rachel, he said. I cried on my husband's chest. A year later, Ethan's 6th birthday arrived. I held a small party. Just family. A few close friends. I didn't have a big party like last year. Ethan didn't want that either. Ethan looked at the cake and asked, Mama, is this cake safe? I knelt down and met my son's eyes. Yes, it's safe. Mama made it herself, I answered. Ethan asked anxiously, there's no peanuts? I promise, I said. Ethan smiled. That smile no longer had the fear from last year. Then I'm ready for my birthday, he said. I hugged my son. The party was peaceful. There was laughter. But everyone felt Jennifer's absence. David's parents had complicated expressions. Their daughter is in prison. For 25 years. They didn't say anything, but the pain showed on their faces. At night, before Ethan went to sleep, he asked a question. Mama, I still think about Aunt Jennifer sometimes. I was surprised. I think about her sometimes too. Why? I asked. Ethan gripped his blanket. I think about her too. I'm not scared anymore. But I'm sad about Aunt, he said. Why are you sad about your aunt? I asked. Ethan stared at the ceiling. Because Aunt was hurting, right? In her heart. And she didn't know how to stop the pain. So she did something bad, he said. I felt tears welling up. That's right, Ethan. You're absolutely right. Your aunt was in pain. And she made a terrible choice. But you chose kindness. Even after what she did to you, I said. Ethan looked at me. Is it wrong to feel sad for Aunt? Even though she hurt me, he asked. No, that's a wonderful thing. It's called compassion. It's one of the most beautiful things in the world, I answered. Ethan smiled. Then he said goodnight and fell asleep. I had started the infertility support organization, Hope Beyond Pain. I established it 6 months ago, and already over 100 women have joined. Every week, I hold counseling sessions. Women gather and share their pain. And find hope. At one session, a woman said, I feel like a failure. Everyone around me is getting pregnant. And I'm broken. I took her hand. You're not broken. You're human. Infertility is painful. Your pain is real, I said. But I'm so jealous. Sometimes I hate people who are pregnant, she said with tears. I nodded. Jealousy is a natural emotion. But don't turn it into hatred. I knew someone who was controlled by hatred. She tried to kill my son. Because of her own pain. Don't become that, I said. The woman stared at me. Then nodded. Thank you. I needed to hear that, she said. Last month, I gave a speech at a support group event. Over 200 people gathered. I stood on stage and told my story. A year ago, my son was nearly killed. The perpetrator was my sister-in-law. She had suffered from infertility for 15 years. And hatred took control of her. I won't forgive her. But I understand her pain. That's why I started this organization. So that people suffering from infertility can find hope instead of hatred. Your pain is real. But it doesn't define you. You can live beyond your pain, I said. The audience applauded. Some were crying. After the event, a woman came to me. Your words saved me. I was about to be controlled by hatred too. But I'm okay now, she said. I hugged her. You're not alone. We're all here, I said. At night, lying in bed, David said, You really are strong, Rachel. I shook my head. I'm not strong. I'm just moving forward, I answered. That's what strength is, David said. Our daughter Emily started crying in the next room. She's 3 months old now. I got up. David said, I'll go. I smiled. Let's go together, I said. When we entered Emily's room, Ethan was already there. He was standing next to his sister's crib. Ethan, what's wrong? I asked. Ethan turned around. Emily was crying. I wanted to make sure she was okay, he said. I stroked my son's head. You're a kind big brother, I said. Ethan stared at Emily. Hey Emily, I'm your big brother. I'll always protect you, he said in a small voice. I felt tears welling up. David was wiping his eyes too. I thought, a year ago, we were in hell. My son was nearly killed. Our family almost fell apart. But we survived. The scars remain. We'll never forget what Jennifer did. But we're moving forward. Choosing love instead of hatred. Choosing hope instead of revenge. Ethan held Emily's hand. Small hand touching small hand. Emily stopped crying. Ethan smiled. Mama, Emily's smiling, he said. I gazed at my son and daughter. These two are my everything. For these two, I'll be strong. For these two, I'll spread hope. Jennifer is in prison. Her life has stopped. But our life continues. Moving forward. And that's everything. Living. Loving. Having hope. We survived. And we will be happy. With our son and daughter. With our family. I looked out the window, the morning sun was beginning to rise. The beginning of a new day. The beginning of new hope. I smiled.